you talk about the empathy advantage. What does that mean in today's marketing context?
Yeah, that's as marketers, we must put ourselves in the shoes of the people we're trying to help,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's something that in the day-to-day campaign-driven, speed-driven environment we see ourselves in, we can get caught up. I have too. You fill out the brief, you go to execute, come on, speed, speed, speed. But taking a step back and looking at through their lens, what's in it for me? That's a common WIFM
Yeah.
acronym that all of us marketers refer to from time to time. But also taking the painstakingly purposeful process of going through the customer journey mapping, I think pays dividends because
Yeah.
it's something that we can all anchor ourselves in. What questions are people asking? Where are they going for information? It puts a different lens on it instead of just talking about features and benefits.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you and I would agree on this, that empathy is more important than it ever has been today. Why do you think it's such a big issue?
Well, let's look at our environment, right? We've got a fractional, disparate environment where things are moving so fast. Communication is in different chunks, it's in different functions. And so then I'm starting to think about how people are consuming. It's now snackable size content. No one's sitting and watching something for hours on end per se. They're looking for the sound bites so they can, once again, speed, speed, speed.
Uh,
And I think as marketers, then we have to meet people where they are and create that demand driven approach, understanding where people are and what kind of information they're seeking and what needs assessment we can do to meet them where they are. Yeah.
and I'm absolutely amazed. It seems very basic and very simplistic, but I'm absolutely amazed at the brands that are not approaching things the right way. Let's just say it. It's the right way to market. Why is that? Why is it so prevalent that marketing today really does not lead with a lot of empathy? I would imagine this is a guess on my
Yeah.
part. There's no science behind this, but I would guess that 6 out of 10 campaigns, programs that are in market right now are not empathy led.
I would affirm that estimate.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy for us to get caught up in the competitiveness where I'm in an aerospace field where competition, the growth is happening fast, fast. And it's important for us to keep up with our competitors, understand maybe their weaknesses, where our strengths play into the market. But that can lead people astray to focus on those instead of really ultimately what's most important, and that's the customer. So to be hyper focused on that customer, what needs they have, and address them with the messaging that we have in our marketing is so important.
Yeah.
It's paramount.
Yeah, it really is. And you established that customer journey mapping is the foundation of
Mhm.
empathy. For someone who has not done this before, what does a strong journey map actually include?
I think the first step is always identifying your segments.
Mhm.
And you can start very high level. So, as an organization and as an industry, I just gave a talk about this the other day that it's important for us as marketers to assess our situation, or as Michael Watkins said in his book, The First 90 Days, diagnose your situation. If you're on the early adopter or growth end of the spectrum versus a mature market, and understanding where your customers and competitors are also within that space, I think that will lead you to decide how deep to take that segmentation.
Uh,
From the segmentation piece, then prioritizing who's most important and getting cross-functional input on who those customers are is ultimately also of paramount importance. Once you have that alignment with leadership, then I think you can go to the next step and do the deeper dive into the personas.
yeah, and I think one of the things that's important here is that we're really establishing and connecting with the real experience of the
Mm,
customer, that it's not just information that we feel we believe to be true. How are you working on absolutely affirming that
Mm.
customer experience is what in fact is happening?
I'm glad you brought that up because typically in my line of work, we start with the anecdotal data. So we
Right.
talk about the sales team and their experience with customers, where they are. You've mentioned mid-funnel. Typically, people are doing their own research before they even land on our website or even speak with one of our direct sales people. So that context is also important because we can use that to further qualify the customers and understand what kind of research and where they are in their journey.
Mhm.
But to put it another way, your question was, how are we affirming or disproving some of that anecdotal feedback that we're getting? And that's, I think, where the direct feedback comes from, direct surveys. I was in market research for 5 years, and I can't advocate enough for direct surveys and confirming with customers.